Yo, what's up, everybody? So I just wanted to drop a video on why I think these Xbox layoffs are necessary and what kind of led up to it, and why people, like I said, as somebody that's been laid off, I understand that it's not fun. Like I said, I remember being laid off. I got called into an office and they just basically said, hey, and mine was through a merger. So they explained to me that, my position was going to be terminated and that I could still apply within the company for any open roles. And they did give us like a 3-month period. And I eventually did end up staying with the company. But as far as Xbox, I feel like a lot of the games that they've been making are, and from what I've heard, this was instructed by Phil Spencer to make these games just so we could fill up Game Pass. And unfortunately, a lot of these games to me were just like slop. It was basically like walking simulators, like cinematic, and a lot of the budget was going towards these salaries. And like I'm hearing that some of these salaries are like $15,000 to $20,000 a month. And if you're taking 5 to 7 years, that's how you get into these $400 to $500 million budgets. And if your game is only selling like less than 1 million copies, this is unsustainable. So 100% these Xbox layoffs and these gaming layoffs are necessary. And it all ties into some of my previous videos where I said that I feel like Fortnite was kind of the tipping point, the tippity top of gaming. And what also Fortnite did is that it took in that free-to-play audience. And so a lot of the younger generation, and sometimes even myself, somebody who grew up actually buying video games and going to GameStop to pay like midnight releases. For these younger generations, there's so much free video games out there. Why would they ever spend any money on a walking simulator that's not innovating? I'm sorry, but games like South of Midnight, they may be immersive walking simulators, but for these kids that are growing up on TikTok where everything has to be go, 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 that's not going to appeal to those kids. And as I do some work at a LAN center, and over the years I've seen the games change. So when I was younger, Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty were big. Now I'm starting to see, your Fortnite. I'm even starting to see like Apex. What's that other game that they just came out? Arc Raiders. A lot of those, League of Legends always. But those games are a lot of high intensity, fast pace. And what I joke around and say, it's like this new genre of video games are made for kids with ADHD. And that's kind of what it feels like, is because you've got to constantly be moving, slide canceling, like literally the slip and slide era. And when I play a video game, I don't mind competing, but I'm not trying to compete against the controller or the physics of the game, where you're just slipping and sliding and trying to do your best movement. Who's trying to be like, I don't have time for that. Like, I'm 30 plus years old. I'm not trying to do that. So, that's why I started to drift more towards fighting games before I eventually retired from gaming, period. So yeah, like I said, it's going to be an unpopular opinion that these layoffs are necessary. But if you've read the memo, everybody knows that these games aren't selling, like they're slop. Even some of these they almost feel like they're trying to hit these quotas. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. I don't need to explain it. Like it's like they're trying to do things other than make the most innovative, best possible game. It's like, these are the check marks that we got to hit. Let's hit these. And even though you may win these awards, like they're fake, they're phony, because they're not made up by gamers. Gamers don't want that. What else we got? So yeah, like I said, there's a particular something that infected. Maybe it's just corporation. Like I said, I'm not even capitalist or anything like that. But I think something infected the gaming culture to where it wasn't just about making the best possible, most innovative game anymore. It was about hitting these check marks. And I felt like a lot of these check marks were being made, like were being hit before this like was ever pushed in there by these corporations. Like I said, corporations are gonna, you know, kind of follow like HR, and they're gonna, you know, listen to HR, which isn't necessarily always a good thing. Anyway, I'll finish this with this last statement, is that somebody recently said that there's a lot of Starbucks in gaming culture now and not enough Mountain Dew. And when I was growing up, it was Mountain Dew, energy drinks, Red Bull, Monster, and there was no Starbucks. And so that kind of sums it up, and you can take what you want from that. I don't need to spell it out. If you know, you know. Like I said, there's too much Starbucks in the gaming industry and not enough Mountain Dew. And unfortunately, I don't even think this can save Xbox. I think the damage has been done. Until you just rip all your games off PC, rip all your games off PlayStation, rip all your games off Nintendo, you're never going to have exclusives. So why would we ever need to buy an Xbox? Even still, you're trying to stop releasing on other consoles, but you're still releasing on PC. PC gaming, like I said, I've got plenty of videos on what I think about PC gaming, and ultimately I just decided I'm not a PC gamer. Like I said, there's no community to me or culture around that. When I had an Xbox and this guy had an Xbox, like we were one and the same, regardless of gender, race, whatever. Like we were connected by that Xbox. So anyway, guys, that's all I got. I just want to drop that video, just my thoughts on some of these layoffs and why some of them are necessary. And although it sucks and I feel bad for anybody in that position, like I said, I think it's necessary. All right.